guys, come with me to make pistachio charlotte. These are the materials I will need to prepare the pistachios. I preheat the oven to 325 degrees. I added the water to my pot and let it get to a boil. Once it was boiling, I added in the pistachios. I set a 30-second timer. Once that was done, I poured the pistachios into a strainer. Then I poured the pistachios onto a towel and de-skinned them. Then I put the pistachios on a pan and put it into the oven to roast for 15 minutes. Once they were done, I set aside 1.25 cups of the pistachios. Then I added them into the food processor. I kept pulsing until they were in much smaller chunks. Then I poured out 3 cups of milk. I added the pistachios from the food processor into a pot and then added the milk. I brought it to a boil in the milk. Then I let it sit in the fridge for 3 hours. I got started on the praline. I added 3/4 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of water in a small saucepan and set it over medium heat. I stirred occasionally and brushed down the sides of the pan with water as needed. I did this until the sugar was a golden color for about 10 minutes. Then I added in the pistachios I set aside. I poured the mixture onto a prepared baking tray and allowed it to cool. This is where we see caramelization occur. Once it was cool, I broke it into pieces and put it in the food processor. I pulsed until the caramel was coarsely chopped. These are the ingredients and materials I needed for the ladyfingers and the cake rounds. I started by preheating the oven to 350 degrees. I gathered my sugar and flour. I separated 6 eggs. Using the electric mixer and the whisk attachment, I whisked the yolks and 11 tablespoons of sugar on high speed until the mixture was thick and pale. I added in the flour and folded gently. Using a different bowl in the electric mixer, I whisked the egg whites until they were frothy. While whisking, I gradually added the remaining tablespoon of sugar. I whisked it until I saw stiff peaks. Then I folded in 1/3 of the whites into the yolk mix to lighten it up. Then I folded in the remaining whites until it was just incorporated. Added the mix into the circle trays. I put the cake rounds into the oven for about 15 minutes or until they were lightly golden. Here we see Maillard browning. Then I filled a pastry bag with the remaining batter. I piped the ladyfingers about 1/2 inch thick, between the lines drawn on the parchment paper. I sprinkled confectioner's sugar on the ladyfingers. Then I placed it in the oven and let it bake for 15 minutes. I made sure to rotate them as they were baking. With the ladyfingers, we can see protein denaturation and coagulation, starch gelatinization, and Maillard browning. Then the pistachios were ready to be taken out of the fridge. I removed the mixture from the refrigerator and strained through the cheesecloth, making sure I got all the milk out. There was about 2 cups of strained milk. I brought the milk to a simmer over a medium-low heat. While the milk was heating, I whisked the egg yolks with the remaining cup of sugar in a medium bowl until pale and combined. I slowly poured in the hot milk and whisked constantly. I did this until it thickened and coated the spoon. Then I prepared the gelatin. I measured out the water and gelatin and mixed them together. I stirred it into the mix until it was completely dissolved. I strained the mixture and set it over an ice bath, stirring occasionally to mix until it was cold. Here we can see gelatin setting. Using an electric mixer, I whipped the heavy cream to make soft peaks. I folded this whipped cream into the egg mixture until it was combined. Here we can see fat emulsification and foam stabilization. Again, I combined sugar and 1/2 cup of water in a small saucepan and allowed it to simmer over a low heat, stirring constantly until the sugar was dissolved. Once it was cool, I brushed the ladyfingers and the cake rounds with this syrup. Then I placed the ladyfingers around the edge of the springform pan. Then I put about 1/3 of the Bavarian cream onto the cake and sprinkled about 1/3 of the pistachio praline. I did this for 2 more layers. Once this was done, I put it in the refrigerator overnight. In the morning, it was time to take it out of the fridge and remove the springform pan. It was time for my friends and family to give it a try.
Oh, it's actually really good. You did a good job.
It tastes just the way that my mom makes it. It was really good. The pistachios are really crunchy. The ladyfingers are really soft, sort of spongy. And the cream inside is really smooth. It was good.